Hello, everyone, and welcome to an episode of the Caffeinated Librarians. Today we're going to be discussing Wednesday, which premiered on Netflix on November 23rd. And warning, there will be spoilers. So if you haven't watched or you haven't finished, come back and watch us when you're done. And yeah, so what the story of Wednesday Addams is going back to everyone's favorite weird family, but making some adjustments.
The Family Matters family.
Yes. Love family.
So in the plot of Wednesday, we are thrusted back into, the Addams Family world. But in this sense of the... Sorry, I can't speak today. But what's different about this show is that we have Wednesday, who's gotten kicked out of a normal public school for protecting her bro, and is now, in the best way possible, she is thrust into a new world in which she must learn to actually socialize with people, and she is sent to her mother's and father's private school for weird people and outcasts.
What's it called?
Nevermore.
Nevermore. Yes.
I love
did like
Nevermore
that name.
Academy. I like the whole aesthetic of the school. Like, that's a school I'd want to go to.
Oh, I love their uniforms.
Yeah, I do like their uniforms. They're very nice.
Yes.
That's a school I'd want to go to. So the basic premise of the series is that Wednesday Addams goes to Nevermore Academy, which is her parents' alma mater, and she makes it her mission to never adjust to the school. She's decided she's going to do everything within her power to prove her parents wrong and to make them miserable and worry about her. But it's not long before spooky, freaky stuff starts to happen around Wednesday Addams. At first she's intrigued, maybe a little excited, but things take a dark, dark turn because students end up dying, and she almost dies.
Don't you hate when that happens?
I definitely do.
Yeah.
I hate having to, although for some of my high school peers, that probably was very much their daily life. It's not that much different.
What?
So, minus the supernatural elements of the story, very dark.
So what are you going
Wait
to?
a
What is
minute.
going on?
So if we're talking back to Wednesdays, so...
Any idea why they named her Wednesday?
Because Wednesday's child is full of woe.
It was her mom's favorite nursery rhyme.
Oh.
Morticia.
So,
Why is he called Pugsley, though? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to...
Because he's supposed to be fat. I don't know.
But
I don't know. Pugsley just seems like I don't really know the history behind that one.
Yeah, I don't know.
oh, okay. Never mind.
He's
I was
just-
just curious.
He's just Pugsley.
Pugsley. Okay.
Pugsley. Maybe his face is supposed to be like a pug.
Maybe. Maybe don't flick him on the nose.
Well, if you've seen the original illustrations from the
The
comic
60s.
books, the 60s and the 70s.
Mhm.
I like Gomez. His face is all squished in. He's almost
not
pig-like.
supposed to. Yeah, he's not supposed to be this handsome
No.
individual. He's supposed to. This family is so unconventional because you have a husband who's so dedicated to his wife. He adores her.
Isn't she
In this-
says anything French?
French, gotta kiss her.
He's just turned on.
Everything
And then
she
he
does,
speaks
he's turned
Spanish.
on. I was watching the original series, a little bit about how they met, and what's really kind of funny, and you get to see it change throughout the years about how they met, is that he was supposed to marry her sister, who is this bright and bubbly child. He absolutely hated everything about her. He was like, I hate this. But then he met Morticia, and Morticia thought he was very handsome. But he realized that, she was the right one for him, not this bright, bubbly, housewifey woman.
Yeah.
So you could say he embraced that toxic kind
But they're
of
not
love.
toxic, though.
She wasn't toxic in the TV show.
I don't mean that I just mean they're dark and they're,
But
That's the weird. He likes the
But
weird.
that's the one thing I never realized because, I didn't know too much about the Addams family. Looking at this show is my first kind of introduction to watching a full-length anything about the family. I assumed that they were, this toxic kind of family that just likes weird stuff, wants to kill everyone,
It's the
and
house I
doesn't...
The
Yeah.
joke is more or less just that they're weird, but they are perfectly fine people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
so-
not the conventional, suburban
Yeah.
family that we see on television.
Yeah.
So,
So that was interesting to learn. Like, the original creator of the story wanted to do a satire on, like, the perfect American family. And he originally wanted to make Gomez Italian. It was either between making him Spanish or making him Italian. And I think he left it to the actor, I think, who played him in the 60s television sitcom to decide on him being Spanish or something like that.
Makes
In
sense.
this case, we have Luis Guzman playing Gomez, who I thought did although Gomez was not like of any focal point, the parents weren't necessarily the focal point of this whole thing. It was more Morticia and Wednesday than it was like Pugsley, all the family as a unit.
Yeah.
It was just mainly about those two. But Luis Guzman was such a debonair, loving father. I loved him in this. Even when he's in prison, he's so calm and so friendly and so nice. I was just like,
I like when Wednesday said mother is basically despondent. She hates you in orange. So cute. You want a love like that.
Yes.
Where, like, no matter what, that person sticks by you, goes to prison with you, and then helps you break out.
Mm-hmm.
That is perfection, yeah. But they are very adorable.
Yes.
Because they're almost like two people you wouldn't expect would be together. Because Morticia is very lovely. It's like the stereotypical thing, like the very lovely woman, very seductive woman. And then you see the guy that she's with is this short, like, dumply man or whatever. But he still manages to bring out that something in her. Like, I was watching, I wanted to watch a few clips of the original 60s sitcom, and it's about when Morticia and Gomez are trying to welcome their new neighbors, and their neighbors, like, are on their honeymoon. They've just been married. And basically they were, like, talking about, oh, they must be nervous. And Gomez says, I quaked on our wedding night. And she goes, I know. Or something like that. It's just, like, I shook her, whatever. It was, like, it was so cute. Yeah,
So,
they're adorable.
what makes this series a little bit different from the original is that there always was somewhat of a supernatural element, especially with Thing and the family itself. But they really tried to hone in more with these outcasts. Like, who are these outcasts? We have, Wednesday has powers now in which she can see, I guess, the future.
But what are Gomez's powers? I know it's not important to the
Being
story.
incredibly faithful. And his fencing skills.
I get I'm not. Because I really was curious about that, because he attended the school for outcasts. So, like, you have the stoners, which I will admit, when I first heard that, I thought they meant, like, stoner. I didn't realize that. You have the Gorgons.
I think they're probably play on words there. Do that on purpose. Yeah.
I figured. Stoners, you have the scales.
Ajax looked like a stoner.
Stoners, scales.
The fangs, and the furries, or furs.
Which I hated that they called them that. I was like, furries? Oh no.
They're not as
They're
scary.
in the school.
Not those kinds of.
But they're not that scary. They're not as scary as those furries.
No, I love these furries. And so in each... So you have supernatural beings. There's something killing the students, which is another, like, supernatural thing going on. But we also have normal people that are in the schools as well. There's normal humans as well, which is what Wednesday is ultimately kind of lumped into.
Well,
She's considered a normie? I thought she's still considered an outcast, though. Because
She
There's
didn't
no-
tell anybody about her powers because she wasn't sure about them for a while, but there are humans in the
Well-
school.
oh yeah, they didn't. Or were there any other ones?
Morticia was
Were
in
there
the
any
school.
other normies?
Yeah, like I think most of, like, the witch people, like any other people, like the guy she kept yelling at for the entire series, who's trying to protect her the entire time.
Oh, yes,
Harry?
Goth Boy.
Harry, yeah. Like, I think all
that
of
his
them
name?
were considered normies,
Xavier.
but they
Xavier,
had
yeah.
Xavier.
Close enough.
They had,
Not close
they
at
had
all.
all their, like, they're
He wasn't a
technically
normie.
human.
Yeah, like, and I'm
Was,
not
it, was he a normie?
But I thought
I thought he was a
normie-
wolf.
But I thought, no, he's a psychic. But I assumed normie implied
No
those,
powers.
those outside of the supernatural sort of
Yes.
scope of the school. So,
Yeah.
yeah, he's a psychic, but I don't think he'd be considered a normie.
Let me see if I can find a list of the...
I thought normies referred to anyone who
Yeah.
does not have a power, like
Yeah,
they
like
reside
Christina Ricci's
outside of-
character didn't
Yeah.
have a power.
Yeah.
Until...
Yeah,
I mean, that's what
we'll get there.
There's even hints that there's like in the original story, like the Uncle, I think Fester character is the one with all the fur, the hair.
No, that's Cousin It.
It.
Cousin It. because there's a portrait when they find the vault in the secret library, and that guy is covered in hair.
I saw that. Yeah.
But the thing that, okay, and I know this is not important, and it's just me, so bear with me. But who are the people that are faceless? What are they called?
Good question.
I mean, it's not important, but you see them whatever. It doesn't matter. Never
We
mind.
don't know.
Whatever. They don't seem to fit into any of the categories that were defined by Enid. And by the way, I love Enid.
Enid was great.
Enid is the friend that everyone needs, where it's like,
She
I
was
mean, you
wonderful.
will like me eventually. So, yeah, I did. Yeah, I just never, they didn't seem to fit into any of those categories. So I was like, are they outside? Like, do they not have a category? Like, what are the faceless people called? How do
I
they
don't think
attend
we're ever
classes? How do they
told.
talk?
Supernatural, Simona. They know how to somehow.
You got to keep some mystery.
I'll stop talking. But, yeah.
I'm still trying to find it.
So Jenna Ortega, outstanding,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely
I mean,
awkward and
yeah.
weird in every way.
just really, I think, embodied the Wednesday character perfectly. Enid is great. I really liked Xavier, and I forget what the other kid's name is. His name is Lucas?
Tyler.
Tyler. Yeah, there it is. Tyler was great, too. I got to tell you, though, and we're jumping way ahead, I knew it was Tyler from the beginning.
Did you?
I did. I swear it. I can't prove it because I wasn't watching it with you guys.
Was it a vibe that you just
It was a
got?
vibe.
Well-
Actually, I'll tell you what it was.
Okay.
It was Xavier saying, "Watch out for him." I thought Xavier knows he's the monster, but there's a reason Xavier doesn't want to give him up. So I thought like Xavier knew he was the monster and was trying to help him or something like that. So like I didn't know.
Isn't that funny though? Because I know the line you're referring to, but I saw it as basically Tyler bullied Xavier because when they go to the town for like that
Yeah.
mutual cooperation day, they don't call it that in the show, but that's essentially what it is, where everyone acts like they all like each other and like, we're so happy you're here. And Tyler's looking at a blank wall, and Xavier's looking at a blank wall, because Xavier is the resident mopey, I'm so tortured artist of Nevermore Academy.
Oh God.
Granted, though, he has a reason. He's under a tremendous amount of pressure with his famous dad, but that's essentially
Yeah.
who he is.
His dad is almost like Chris Angel.
When you first see his character, he's mournfully painting some ravens on the wall. I'm like, okay, they're hitting that very on the nose. But he's staring at a blank wall, and Wednesday goes, why are you staring at a blank wall? And he goes, it wasn't blank last, like, festival. And then looking at the way he looks at Tyler, I thought it was, okay, Tyler did something to him.
Yeah.
I didn't read it as that he's protecting Tyler. And how did we feel? Because Katie and I were talking about...
Well, you were right. I mean, you ended up being right, but I just interpreted the line differently.
Oh, well, yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I meant. I'm sorry. I wasn't
Yeah.
trying to say that I was right. It's basically like that same line, but I interpreted it a complete opposite way, which is why I thought it was interesting
Yeah.
that you said
Yeah.
that. But Katie and I were talking about like misdirections in like in shows or like keeping you guessing. Did you feel that the misdirections, even speaking about who, and we are jumping ahead, but we're assuming that everyone who's listening has already watched, so we're not going to go into all that detail per se. But when they're talking about figuring out the hide, who is essentially unlocked, and the individual who unlocks the hide essentially becomes that hide's master or puppeteer. Basically, that person controls the strings. So originally, I was believing that Dr.
Limbot. Kimbot.
Kinbot, that's what her name is?
Kinbot, yeah.
Okay.
Not Linbot.
You're good. Kinbot. That Dr. Kinbot was the one. Like, I was starting to, okay, Dr. Kinbot, there's something suspicious about her. But then I was like, but are we meant to think that she's suspicious, but it's not really her?
Yeah.
How did you feel about these, like, those misdirects? Like,
There
did
were
you...
a lot.
I liked them, and the reason I liked them was because they weren't out of the realm of possibility.
Okay.
Like, I didn't think that it was a stretch that Linbot was the person, Kinbot was the person. I didn't think it was a stretch. I thought, to be honest with you, Memes or Weems or...
Weems.
Weems. I thought Weems. I'm going to get these names right.
No, I
eventually.
have them all written down. So if you need me to, I have all the main characters written down.
I thought it was going to be Weems.
Yeah.
I thought there was something up with Weems, and she was going to be the one that was like pulling strings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I didn't really expect Christina Ricci's character, which I probably should have.
She's always evil.
Yeah,
No,
right?
she's not.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But I didn't mind all that because it added to the mystery of it. I mean, mysteries have misdirections. I mean,
Yeah, I wonder, like, because, for example, like, did all of you have a feeling that Weems was a shapeshifter even before
She is a
re-
shapeshifter.
Yeah,
no,
I
but she's
meant,
asking if we
Oh, in
knew
the
it.
beginning.
yeah.
I mean,
Like, if you knew that would be the reveal around her character, that she's a shapeshifter.
No.
I mean, you find that out pretty early on, though.
Well, there's a throwaway line when Wednesday's parents come for parent day or parent teacher day or whatever Nevermore's equivalent to parent teacher day is. And Morticia's looking through the yearbook just, and with the talent show, you were a dead ringer for Judy Garland. There's that throwaway line when she says that. And then eventually it's revealed later on when Thing is following her that, she can shapeshift.
Yeah.
I was kind of wondering if with Marilyn Thornhill, Christina Ricci's character, if there are some hints, like, because you know how she deals with these toxic, poisonous plants?
I love
And
it.
a lot of the plants that she references have meanings behind them. So I'm curious if the plants that, like, for example, she has the black dahlia, she has,
She knows flower language.
yeah, one of the first plants can thrive in like darkness. It's like but it destroys the native inhabitants. Not native inhabitants, the indigenous plants in whatever area it takes over. Like, I'm wondering if those plants are supposed to also be clues to her deceptive nature.
Probably.
Like, if you know the types of plants she's referencing, if you would get clues that she's not who she seems to be.
Well, I would think so if you knew what the meaning of those flowers were.
Yeah.
And then you could have been like, oh, something's off.
She
Yeah.
does play
She
with
also-
flower language.
She also
but-
gives those, like, to people that she thinks they would be suited for, though.
Yeah.
Like, she gives the Black Dahlia to Wednesday, and Wednesday's like, oh, my favorite unsolved murder.
And that's and that's one of the things, because
How
sometimes
original.
with these misdirects and I don't know if any of you else like feel the same way, where so the intention is you're ultimately trying to fool the audience, but sometimes the interactions don't make much sense. Like for example, and now that I'm thinking, I can't articulate what I'm trying to say. So when you got it. Sorry.
I believe in you.
Thank you. When, like, for example, with Marilyn's characters, like, there are moments when she's talking to Wednesday, and I know that eventually you learn the reason why she's doing this, because she realized at a certain point Wednesday's starting to catch on. Wednesday can be a bit problematic to her ultimate goal, which is resurrecting a murderous pilgrim and killing all the
Great callback to the movies.
outcasts. Yeah, so that's her ultimate goal. So there are moments when it's just her and Wednesday when you're like, okay, fine, I understand. When you eventually learn she's buttering up Wednesday because she wants to know more. But in those private moments, like when you don't yet know why, do those moments make sense? And has anything that I've said make any sense?
I think
Yeah.
I think they do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't have problems with those ones.
Okay.
The one, now that we're talking about it a little bit, I'm thinking about it, the one misdirection that I think I didn't like because nothing panned from it.
Yeah.
They never addressed it again, was Morticia warning Wednesday about Goody Adams.
Oh.
Like you were, were we supposed to be afraid of Goody Adams for a minute?
Do you recall when that was? Because I'm sorry, I honestly don't recall.
It was at the end of that parent-teacher episode,
I
where
think
Gomez just got out of prison, and Wednesday is finally,
about her visions. Did she
Tell-
specifically mention? I'm sorry, I hit the
She-
mic.
she
Did she
does.
specifically? I kind of.
and she says, "Be careful of Goody Adams" and stuff like that. But like, why?
Okay.
She said, "Be careful of Goody Adams" because Goody Adams was like a murderer and stuff like that.
I think it's because, from what I understood, because what you know even of Goody Adams, it's almost like it's piecemeal. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Piecemeal, yeah.
It's bits and pieces basically where, this is what I heard about her. Then you get the other side that say she was problematic. She murdered Joseph Crackstone in cold blood. So you're getting bits and pieces. So you're basically dealing with this character that you don't know much about. I'm
Right.
assuming Morticia would know something about
Right.
her. I don't think Morticia was warning Wednesday because she felt Goody Adams might be evil. Like, I think it goes back to when Morticia's saying, I'm a dove, my visions tend to be more positive and uplifting. You're a raven, your visions are darker, they're a little bit more untrustworthy, even though Morticia's visions could be hit or miss as well. I think she was basically cautioning Wednesday maybe about putting too much faith in what she's experiencing, because she's like, even with my visions, I'm not always right, but what makes yours more problematic is yours are darker in tone.
And they kept saying that, though. They kept saying her visions were unreliable, but they weren't.
I think that's because...
They also were in a time in the 1600s, and this kind of coincides with the town, is that she was burned at the stake for being accused of being a witch because of those visions and stuff like that.
No, Wednesday's visions.
Oh, no, Goody Adams. Goody Adams was condemned as a witch.
No. I'm saying Wednesday's visions were always said that they were being warned that her visions were unreliable, but they weren't.
I think it depends on like what character is talking to her. Because if you get Xavier when you start, because at first I didn't know what Xavier's deal was. Like, he can make pictures come to life, which I thought was really cool. But he opens up eventually, says, I bear the burden of having my famous father. And even my famous father will tell you, don't trust Vitch. So I think what with Wednesday, she's dealing with a few factors. One, it's
she's
that
dealing with fake news. Follow your visions, Wednesday.
So I think the problem with Wednesday is that, for example, when she witnesses the murder of the first boy, and I'm sorry, I cannot remember what's his name.
Rowan.
Probably it's Rowan.
Irrelevant.
He's
dead.
Irrelevant. when she witnesses his murder, it's basically she's combating with the fact, are you sure you saw it? You were running for your life. It was dark. There was thunder. There was
people. You're right. They were gaslighting her the whole show.
Exactly. So I think that's what it is. Where, like, I think. Especially now she's opening up to her mom, because prior to this, Wednesday has not opened up to her mom, and she's been having the visions for a while. So I think it's also...
Well, she also is at the point where she doesn't really trust her mother.
Yeah.
And that's where the kind of like the duality of the characters comes.
Yeah.
That she always kind of puts it back to her mother, and she's always like, I'm never going to be what you want me to be. I'm not going to be you. And I think that's it's very relatable in a sense, is that sometimes
angsty teenage stuff. Yeah.
Angsty teenage... But also, it is different for, like, girls who have grown up with, like, their mothers, and it can be kind of like your mom is basically... It's always been kind of like a mom's duty to, teach their daughters to be the next, like, how to do things and stuff. I know that, like, my mom was kind of like that, but also, like, it's always been my mom or my stepmother teaching me how to do something. Never, like, my father's or something like that. They're more, like, academic versus, like, kind of taking care of the house and, like, doing other things and how to get things done, like my taxes. My stepmother taught me how to do that, not my dad. So it's, like, she doesn't want to be this happy housewife who's, like, with a loving man. Although that's a family to look up to.
She doesn't want to be anything
be...
other than what she's been trying to be lately.
Stop, Kevin DeGraw.
Oh my God.
Well,
Continue, please.
But that is very true, because I think much of Wednesday's sort of gripe with her mom is that it's almost like, I'm gonna do this to spite you. Like, I'm not gonna do the fencing team because you did it. Yeah, it's not that her mom is telling her necessarily you have to believe it. The mother never says that. It's Wednesday projecting because she has this tension with her mother. Because ultimately, Wednesday, who's like, I won't fall in love, I'm not going to be like you, Mom, she ends up sort of going with like two different guys. Not at the same time, but she's with like two different guys. So ultimately, she does kind of want something like what her mother has. I just think she's being resistant for just the sake of it, because I have to sort of fight you on this. Like, even with Weems is one of the most patient people on the planet when it comes to Wednesday, where it's like she gives her chance after chance, even like when she's gonna expel her. Okay, fine, you will not be expelled, but don't push it.
She
and then
literally just does not expel her all this time.
Yeah,
I cannot figure out the love of
She also doesn't listen to her. Like, she's not...
She's an adult.
But
like,
to
what
be fair
to a teenager?
But to be fair too, though,
not want
Wednesday's
anything
like,
to
I saw the guy die. I saw his body slash. Come with me. I'll lead you to it. It was there, I swear. Where are the footprints? The rain washed it away. Where's the knife? The stream pushed it down. Or it's like, or when she's... So
That
I
seems
think...
like a cry, like a...
But why would
that
she
sounds
make it
fake
up?
newsy.
Because granted, the adults... And first of all, Wednesday doesn't help herself. She has a very abrasive personality. Yeah, that can be admirable, but
Seems very sarcastic.
if you're going to work with someone, cut the sarcasm, take your ego down a notch...
Well,
and work with these people. I think you can't expect, well, this is who I am. Well, fine. Not everyone is going to like your abrasive, sarcastic, snooty kind of personality.
Too bad. I'm gonna be who I'm gonna be.
But I know, but if you want to solve a murder, if you have witnessed a beast tear this child up, put aside the ego and say, listen, this is the evidence I have. I am willing to work with you. Wednesday is not really willing to do that until she's almost backed up against a corner, which is, okay, found, now I have to cooperate with you. That's some of the problem and even Weems says it, your arrogance and your ego gets in the way of any genuine help or any kind of information you get. So that's Wednesday's problem. is
Another
that
problem of Wednesday is that she tends
But she
to...
grows, though, right?
she does.
She
She
does,
learns.
but Wednesday also has this facade where she needs to do everything on her own. So
Yes.
it might seem difficult for people to feel like, considering she's an escape artist, she's been trying to get out of the school and escape constantly. So Gwen over here is just over here like, I gotta watch this girl. She's trying to hook me up with some guy at the carnival.
That was funny.
That was
though.
hilarious. She's like, she needs it more than I do. And I'm just like, oh my God, leave her alone. I was like, first off, she's jealous of your mom. But like, she's been trying to watch her since day one. She puts her in those mandatory therapy sessions. It's not like her and Wednesday got off on the right foot in the first place. The only person she got off on the right foot with on the first day was maybe Marilyn.
Maybe.
Because she gave her a black dolly and she was like, oh, my favorite. It's like, there we go. Ooh, 10 plus points. Plus 5 social. But you have Wednesday who has this outward facade of, I'm going to do everything on my own. She writes her novel where she's writing like a Nancy Drew-esque, like, story of a young girl trying to solve a murder. She's also a young girl trying to solve a murder. She can't believe in everybody else because she's been hurt in the past. She doesn't want to lose anybody. I think that's also another part of her that she wants. I think we've seen with Thing. Like when Thing almost dies.
Shout out
First
to
off,
Thing.
I almost died. I was like, oh, that
Was
thing can
anyone
die.
else getting emotional with the hand literally dying
That
and trying
hand
to be resurrected?
is the
I
best.
love Thing.
Thing is, I love
Lurch.
Thing. Oh my God.
Yeah, Lurch and Thing, but Thing almost dying, like kill. I was like, oh, no, I'm
Yeah.
gonna cry. I'm like, how dare you?
See, now I think this is where I
Feel bad for everyone. Doesn't feel bad for any of the students getting killed, but when Thing almost
Lurch.
died,
But when a hand gets stabbed.
That's a hand with personality who's been
Yeah.
trying to teach Wednesday from the very beginning that she needs to ask for help. But at the same time, I think she's reeling from the fact that she's put up this facade of the fact that she needs to do everything on her own and that she's independent.
She's also
and
stuck
she's
up.
smarter than everybody else, and she's always 10 steps ahead.
She's
But
stuck
that-
up.
But, like, she needs help, so people are reluctant to give it to her because of how nasty she's been. Or, like,
Yeah.
don't want to
Except-
trust her.
Except
Enid.
for Enid.
Because Enid is the ray of sunshine that
and-
everyone needs.
And let me just say that they developed that friendship so naturally in 8 episodes. Like it wasn't like this like
this forced
Enid's a
upon.
little
Yeah.
puppy dog who's just like, why won't you love me?
yeah, it was just really, really natural and really well done.
Did you like their matching snoods?
I loved that.
Oh my
and
God.
I loved, and even though you really don't see it, I loved this backhanded, not backhanded, this like behind the scenes joke of Enid and Thing being like best friends.
Yeah, like,
they
I'll tell
do
you the drama later.
manicures. She was like, you got to teach me your more. I love Enid. Let's talk about Enid for a moment.
Yes, I love. So Enid is part of the werewolves or the furs.
You can say it, Amanda.
Furs. No, the werewolf. She's part of the werewolf clan. First, I want to talk about her parents. I love her dad.
Her dad.
Her dad was quiet, said nothing. The mom wanted to put her in a werewolf conversion camp.
That's a man that understands how to keep a marriage going. Just keep
He's
his
like-
mouth shut.
And, like, it seems like the werewolves are these, they look like, I'm not gonna lie, like, backwater redneck, like in the wood.
Amanda,
I'm from the
check,
South.
check your privilege.
Even they call them rednecks there. What do you want? They look like they live in like the
bayou.
cabins in the wood kind of a deal. They're very woodsy people,
Even
which
their,
is
their
to make
clothes
sense.
look
but
homespun.
their clothes look like they've been homemade, or they're like hand-me-downs from like Harry, like from the Weasley family going on over here.
Did
but
you just insult the Weasleys?
no, I love the Weasleys. I would
They're
marry
all
into the
red hair.
Weasleys if I
Comparisons.
could.
They're all redheaded, so of course Amanda's going to love.
Yes.
You know who's your favorite now.
Oh, they're all my favorite.
I liked when
Except
her
Percy.
and
Percy's a
Ajax.
stuck-up little punk.
I liked when her and Ajax were, kissing and
Yeah,
stuff, and
right.
then her nails pop out, and he's like, "Are you gonna wolf out on me?" It's like, oh my god. It's just-
Did you like
I
when
felt
they?
bad that was the only. I loved that she felt so self-conscious. In fact, she hasn't transformed yet, and that she's a late bloomer.
Yeah.
And that the only thing she could transform were her nails.
Yeah.
But they were so colorful. Even
Her-
when extending, I'm like, how did you do that? Did you
Her,
get in there?
her
What's
nails
going
are
on?
always like on point. I loved her nails because that's
Her
just
hair
me.
and her nails match. She's always
yeah.
got.
And then when she did wolf out, like her hair was actually like still like
I
colored and
love
stuff.
that touch. It was such
Yeah.
a good touch
Yeah.
for like a werewolf. And I actually really liked the werewolf design. I'm like,
Yeah.
I love werewolves in like movies and literature. They're my favorite monster. And so to see like one that actually somewhat looks like a wolf, like
Did you like the
Inform.
transformation the way it was done?
did. I like that they didn't do like a full on like we're gonna
Yeah.
show her like nude and like her
Yeah.
transform like American
Yeah.
American Werewolf in London
Yeah.
over here. But I thought it was tastefully done.
Yeah.
I thought her werewolf form was very cool. The dyed hair.
Yeah.
She's a fantastic.
I liked her
character.
toothy grin at the end when she looks. She's like, "Hi, it's
Yeah.
me. Look what I
I just kind
did."
of want to pat her on the head like a
I-
pooper.
Can we talk about when she's trying to get Ajax to ask her on a date, and he's
Oh, yeah.
like, "Oh, you want to go to the? Do you realize a lot of people go there and make out? Well, I wish you luck." And then she finds this Ajax. I am trying
Yeah.
to ask you. He goes, "That's
That
what
was
you're
funny.
doing."
That
I didn't realize he was
really
a Gorgon. Okay.
that really I understand it's a stereotype of men, but that really epitomizes how observant we are to things.
No, but okay, and I'm gonna ask this
Look, we all been
sincerely.
there. We all been dumb.
Can guys not tell when someone really, really likes them?
No.
I don't mean to ask a dumb question.
no.
I think girls are like that
Of
too.
course
I've seen
not. Yeah, I
many of
think
my
girls are the
girlfriends
same
do
way.
that too.
I'm like that as well.
Yeah, I think girls are the
Yeah.
same
I
way. though.
spent so much time in high school wondering
Okay.
if someone liked me, only to miss my chance like all these times. Like, no way. It's like you play the stupid game. I'm like, does he like me? Does he not like me? I
Yeah.
hate that game because it's always a
Oh.
lie.
What,
Yeah.
did you like that shop? I actually liked that shop. The proproprietor of that shop was
The
hysterical.
weird
Yeah, that
shop
was cool.
owner.
The chaga tea, just I make.
And
chaga.
Wednesday didn't want to be there. I'm like, girl, you got stuck with fudge.
Well, she didn't want to
She
be there
had a
because she wanted to
mission.
go to
True,
Crackstone's
but
thing.
still.
the
Yeah.
chamber.
Like-
pot.
Yeah.
I like what she says Etsy. I don't know who she is, but that was funny though, how out of touch she is. Oh, but yeah,
I
those
may
some good
have a
touches.
controversial opinion about Wednesday
Oh.
to everyone else.
Get ready to throw that mouse, Amanda.
I
It
like
was
this one.
hard for me to get into Wednesday as a series, and I think it's because I grew up watching like the movies from the 90s
Mhm.
and have it be so close to what they were like as they're initially like created to be
Mhm.
that when I saw Wednesday I understood what they were going for, but at the same time I was like, oh, so this is a reboot, and why? Why?
Well,
I think it's
does
interesting
the Addams
because-
Family have to be rebooted in any way? Because I don't think that it's
Well, the 90s
necessary.
one were reboots.
yeah.
Too, yeah, that's true. You had the comics, and then you had the '60s show, and then you had the '90s movies, and now you have Wednesday.
There's a
There was also the
2019
cartoons
animated
as well.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
animated movies. I think in general,
Yes, reboots is the wrong word.
I would say
Um,
reimagining.
reimagining of the
More than
Addams
anything.
Family, because they were just a quirky family that were different from everybody else. Why did there have to be a supernatural element to them?
Because
So
they're going to be
there always
quirky and
was
extra
a
special.
supernatural. There always was a supernatural element with them.
Yeah.
There was, even if it was like little, the fact that the existence of Thing and Cousin It were already supernatural elements, and also
even
in
Lurch,
their
I'm pretty
family,
sure Lurch
Lurch
is
is like a
dead,
Frankenstein.
right?
Yeah, he's like a little
He's
hulking thing.
dead?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
But
he's
you
like a
also
Frankenstein.
have, like,
kind of
they
thing.
Well,
talk
he
about
goes
doing
as wrong.
seances and stuff like that. So it's not within the realm. It's definitely within the realm of the
Which is funny because that was
possibility.
a criticism that they were never supernatural. Why make them supernatural? But then I was thinking,
That's
but
true.
how do you explain thing?
Yeah.
You see, that's when you need. See, Katie, you need this explanation.
I didn't
How
need-
then do you
I
explain
didn't-
thing?
I didn't
So-
need the explanation.
The
So-
only-
Thing
the only-
was a walking hand. It was cool. It was just different. Wow.
He was very stitched up this time.
He
though,
was.
too.
You noticed
like
that,
a
right?
voodoo hand.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The only
See,
thing
why?
I'll say in response
He's been through
to
a lot.
not being able to get into the show, I think the first episode was probably the worst episode. After the first episode, I was kind of like, I was kind of like, damn, Simona, like I don't know that I can get through it. Like I think I said that to myself. I was like, come on, Simona, Wednesday, really? And then I watched the second episode and I was like, all right, that was a little better. It's starting to get into it. Then I watched the third episode. I was like, all right, that's pretty dope. And then I think I watched like 4, 5, 6, like straight back to back, and I was like, I apologize, Simona.
So I think what's
You
interesting.
you have redeemed. You have my full support. You have my full go for it.
Bow,
I
Simona.
will never.
Just say
I
bow
won't
to me.
question your choices again.
So I
Except
think
for Bubble.
I
Well, that's why I was questioning Wednesday was because of Bubble. I still had the bad taste of Bubble. You know. Yeah.
But so I think in terms of like looking at it, like if you're looking about like constantly like bringing back the Addams and changing something different about it, I think the reason is because you have the Addams family. The Addams family has always been kind of like the antithesis to anything, or at least it makes a mockery or is a satire on familial tropes. But now we're in a day and age where we're kind of getting away from the the nuclear family, and we're done making fun of that. Now we're looking for the next big, thing we can kind of work on. And Wednesday has always been a character that has always been well received in this year. I think if you ask anybody who your favorite character in the Addams Families is, you'll majoritarily get Wednesday. We love Wednesday. The 90s movies kind of focused on Wednesday also. She's always a very interesting character to go back to. And in this day and age, we have the modern viewer looking for more like diversity in like their main character, or we're looking for, the next big female lead to like go in there. Jenna Ortega, I think, does a very good job portraying Wednesday as like, the character of Wednesday. She's morbid, she's very withdrawn, she doesn't smile.
No.
Very
Which is kinda
monotone, even.
Very monotone. Even the dance scene that is like taken over like TikTok. First off, TikTok, the song was fine the way that it was, but the song you added after was very good. Everyone on TikTok decided that they didn't like the song that she dances to in the show, and they just
like
put a
that
sped up
song.
version of a Lady Gaga song, like I'll
God.
dance with my hands.
Oh, please. Sorry.
It's such a
I
good
love-
song too, but I'm over here like.
I like Lady Gaga. I haven't
I
heard
do.
that, though. Yeah.
No, I
So
like Lady
that's
Gaga.
the big
but-
TikTok trend is like is the big like Wednesday dance scene,
And she
her-
choreographed that dance.
and she was sick, and that was crazy. So go for her. But I think what they're trying to do, and I would have to go and try to see if they've done interviews about this. I think that the direction they went to, because I was having a conversation with a friend about this, and he thought there was a lot of like feminist like messaging with Wednesday. And to be fair, Wednesday has always been like the antithesis of the, girly girl, or like, the girly stereotype of the daughter who likes dolls, and instead she likes dolls with their heads cut off.
Right.
Or like what we think of like Tinker Toys and like, like Barbie playhouses. She's got like torture devices, and she's like electrocuting her brother every weekend. It's like that's her version of playtime with her brother is bodily harm versus like get out of my room. First of all, she also has a very close relationship with her brother.
Yes, she does.
So that's also very different. Girls aren't supposed to have they're supposed to be like, get out of my room. I'm painting my nails. I'm talking on the phone. Get away from me. Stuff like that. I'm texting Mark. So I think this was their no. All my siblings are younger, but they're too young to have for me to have gone that way. I was I was babysitting. They were babies. So, I think it was an interesting choice to turn into the Addams family into, yes, they are a loving family, and yes, they are highly supportive of their daughter and everything that she does. But now we're all about like generational trauma, and now we're all about like, wanting to be individuals, which is the teenage experience. And Wednesday's still trying to figure herself out, but she thinks that she's figured herself out when she hasn't.
Right.
And I think she comes into contact with this when she's met with people in similar circumstances. Like, I kind of wanted to touch on the Sirens group, and you have the Queen Bee woman, Bianca, and seeing her with her family, you have these sirens, and she doesn't want to be like her mom and join a cult-like following to, like, subdue men or whoever and be a part of that. She doesn't want to be part of, like, the Jehovah's Witness thing. She doesn't want to be part of the Mormon cult over here. No. She wants to be her, and she doesn't want to be looked down upon as being this monster. And I think Wednesday starts to build on that. So, I don't know. I also think that as far as trends go, we really like schools. Like, School of Good and Evil had just come out. And we have Harry Potter. And we have Percy Jackson coming out soon. We love weird schools.
Because it's full of angst,
It's full
drama,
of angst,
murder.
but it's full of, like, weirdness that we wish we could have. And I would love to go to the
I
school.
honestly-
Well, it's
Yeah.
because schools have that stuff. I mean, I think that's just natural.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think
I like
that
that.
The View changed from trying to satirize the nuclear family to going into more of a deeper look into, like, how Wednesday's feeling about the fact that her family is this happy-go-lucky, cheery thing, even though they're so weird, and she's the dark and gloomy one of the family.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that they are dark and gloomy.
Yeah, it takes
she's the darkest.
Yeah, it takes the tropes and it's turning them upside down. And each character has, within 8 episodes, each character has an arc. Each character has growth.
Except Pugsley.
Well, each of the main characters.
Well, there's going to
Poor
be a season
Pugsley.
2.
Yeah.
I think Pugsley will have a time to shine.
You should come to the school.
the main characters, the ones in the school, the students,
He'll have time to
all
shine.
have arcs. I mean, Bianca starts off as kind of the bully, and then you realize that she's really not, and she ends up helping Wednesday. I mean, Xavier has an arc. Tyler has an arc.
The vamps are weird because we really never got to really know them. That's what I kind of hope for season 2 is I want to see more of the vampire people. I just love that they just wear weird glasses. Because that covers your skin. And there's the Gorgons, which we see with Ajax, and the reason they wear their hats is to hide their snakes.
Did anyone else feel so sad when he petrifies himself and he can't go to see Enid?
Yeah, I mean, I felt bad for Enid.
And then there's... Well, he didn't mean to petrify himself. You don't feel bad for him?
No, I mean...
He had it coming.
No, I mean, I don't feel... it's just... So then, the very next episode is that dance. Yes. And Enid goes with somebody else, and Ajax goes with somebody else. If I were Ajax, and I didn't show up for a date...
Yeah.
Like the minute you're unpetrified, you find Enid, and you say, "Hey, my bad," or text her, or something like that.
I think
so I
he
don't
was
really,
ashamed.
I don't
He's
care.
like, these are like almost like 13,
care.
14-year-olds.
Grow up, Ajax. If you are adult enough to go meet a girl at a makeout spot, you are adult enough to text her and to say, "Hey, my bad."
We all do stupid things.
I would have
But
to.
that's why I don't feel bad for him.
I would have to agree with Lou on this.
Yeah.
We all do
To be
stupid
fair,
things.
like,
We all do
there
stupid
are
things.
consequences. I had a guy in high school who I thought I was going on my first date with, and, like, we were all set to go. I thought we were going on a date, and so I was waiting for him to get out of detention while I was doing an after-school
This
activity.
sounds promising.
Oh, no. And so I waited after school, after we'd been texting, and he didn't text me, and he was like, I, like, went home after waiting an hour for him with no message, and he was like, "Oh, sorry, I went to a baseball game with my dad." And I went, didn't think to text me.
Yeah.
Because I broke up with
But
him,
honestly, there are people who are legitimately like that. Like, I had a friend where communication was not her strongest point, and when I tried to bring it up, she was like, She almost didn't see the issue. But going back to Ajax, like, I do agree.
He's a stupid boy.
He could have said to Enid, I apologize, I accidentally petrified myself. But I wonder, though, if Enid would have seen that as an excuse. Like, almost like, oh, you really never wanted to go, so you're using the petrify yourself things. Because, I don't know. I think
How does that even happen?
Yeah, because I think Enid was a little sort of iffy on the whole thing to begin with. So I think already the relationship started off on the wrong foot to begin with. And yes, he could have said, I accidentally petrified myself. I apologize. But I think also he was embarrassed. I think he says, I was ashamed. Like, he didn't want to tell her.
Also,
you
Enid
know?
never told him that she couldn't transform, I think.
I think he knew.
Yeah.
Did he know?
Yeah.
Because the time
Yeah.
of the thing, he's like, you're not going to wolf out on me, right? Kind of show the context of the fact that maybe she hasn't
Maybe.
told him, and maybe she
Yeah.
tries to keep that as, that's kind of a thing that she's like self-conscious about, because all the other
Yeah.
wolves are.
And also
you know?
because she has a mom that just needs to shut up.
Her mom's like, why
back
don't you just
off.
go to
Mom
the
is very
conversion
pushy.
camp? You come back after the weekend.
Oh my God.
I'm like,
it was,
Mom.
leave her alone.
The
Oh my
dad,
goodness.
I just love that dad. He's so
Yeah, but at the same
nice.
time, though, him not saying
gives
anything
good
to the
help.
mom was not. And I know there are parents that are like that. There are parents who are not as assertive, so they may show the support afterwards. But he could have stepped in and saying, listen, whatever her name is, Marge, or whatever her mom's name is. I don't know what the mom's name is.
We don't care.
He could have told her.
It was Tanya.
Yeah. Was it Tanya?
I don't know.
Basically, he could have told her, I think you need to back off a little bit. I mean, maybe she would have been, but at least he would have told her,
But, so, we're only seeing them when they're with Enid. Maybe he is saying that behind closed doors.
Maybe.
And it's
name was
just not getting
Esther.
through, because you have to have a united front.
Esther. Okay, thank
Esther.
you. Yeah.
You have to have a united front. If you don't have a united front, the gates are going to get breached. You can't have that. You know what I mean?
I agree, yes.
So,
United front all around.
I mean, I don't have kids or anything, but when I do, and I have my little army, like I'm the general. You know what I'm saying?
Spartan.
Yeah. Like they're not.
What's Louisa's position?
You gotta have a united front. I don't know what's above a general. The president.
You're not going to be equal
Commander.
generals?
No, it
Colonel.
doesn't work like that.
Colonel's I think
Colonel.
higher.
Colonel.
Colonel
It
is
could.
higher than general, isn't it? Is anything higher than general?
Admiral, maybe, right?
That's
don't
the
know.
Navy.
Commander in chief.
Yeah.
I was gonna say maybe like that, but
Okay, fine. She'll be the commander in chief.
Yeah.
You'll be the general.
And then
Okay.
you got a united front so that they don't break through.
I-
Because once they break through one of them, they can take down the other one,
I
and
understand.
then it's over.
Okay.
Then they have control of the fort. This analogy went way off.
No, it's.
Wow.
Yeah. But you were having a rhythm there. I didn't want to disrupt it. You were getting a rhythm there. Yeah. So let's talk about what we have sort of tried to not talk about. But
Crackstone?
way to interrupt the flow, though.
Was that what you were going to talk about?
Yes.
Cool. I loved that part. All right.
Right.
keep
which
going.
one?
The Crackstone stuff.
So we haven't been talking about the resident
Drug dealer?
outcast. No, he's not a drug dealer.
Oh, she think Crackstone. Maybe it's symbolism.
No. He was just a pilgrim way back when who didn't like the outcasts because they were evil, sent by the devil, and
Disgusting.
he may have burned a few. One got away, and she may have stabbed him and then cursed his soul. It's a whole big thing. But that's where we are now. That's what's leading to this current situation that we're in. See, the failure to have any kind of dialogue, that's where it leads. Violence, it is never good.
Well, I mean, if he was a man during the 1600s.
This is not his.
and
But
she
we're not
was-
talking historical.
And she
Hair like
was
that.
a woman.
No.
There was no way he was going to listen to her.
Well, that's basically what happened.
Yeah, she said no.
Yeah.
Well, now we got burned.
Yeah.
How dare you?
See, I like when it's me. It's fantasy, Simona. When it's someone else, it's, well, historically. Whatever. So Crackstone was cranky. He
I'll
killed
go
a bunch
into
of
your
outcasts.
conspiracy theories.
Thank you. Yes.
I love your conspiracy theories.
I don't have. He was okay. So Crackstone is a cranky man. He was a pilgrim that decided outcasts had no place in his good, decent, clean society, and he killed a bunch of them. Goody Adams, which is the ancestor of Wednesday Adams, decide I've had enough of this man. She killed him, buried him, and cursed his soul.
Also,
now,
question.
Yes.
Is Goody Adams just Jenna Ortega in a blonde wig?
Yes, she is.
All right. They
look so similar.
they could have gotten another actress.
No, because then it's like, oh, they're like the same.
No, it was just, I thought that was a little too cheesy. I was like, come on, guys.
So you want to know what's really funny is that they never actually specify which side of the family she's related to.
It has to be Morticia's.
No,
so
it's
they
Gomez.
they actually never mention who she's related to,
Yes,
and
yes,
there's
they-
a fun fact right here.
Well, I'm
Why are you convinced it's Gomez?
No, I'm going to tell
And
you.
I'll tell you why I'm convinced it's Morticia.
They're saying on here, they're like, Wednesday mentioned her grandmother, but it is unclear if she is Gomez or Morticia's mother.
Oh, because
if
of the last
she is
name?
Morticia's, then she would not be related to Goody.
She wouldn't have Adams as the last name. So I guess it is Gomez.
It might be, but they never expressly say
Because
it. I don't
Morticia's...
know.
Yes, they do.
Morticia's...
Ignore the Wikipedia fun fact.
Morticia's,
What are you doing, Wiki?
What's Morticia's maiden name is what?
I don't know, but Adams
We're gonna find
is
out.
Gomez's.
That's what I just said, so I'm agreeing with you.
So no, yeah. So Goody Adams, there's a thing where Morticia says, which is why I'm saying poo-poo to that wiki page,
Poo-poo.
because Morticia says your father's family came from Mexico. Goody Adams was one of the first settlers. She's from the Gomez side
Makes
of the
sense.
family.
Because she also has the last name Adams.
Exactly.
That makes
Yes.
sense. You're right. I take it back. You're right.
Thank you. Everyone looking at me like I have 10 heads.
I didn't do that.
I pay attention, people.
You're
so,
right, you're right.
so now, the thing about hatred is that it can never die. Sometimes it festers, it's allowed to build, and now we get to Marilyn Thornhill. So, I have given that great introduction. Did
Right.
anyone want to say anything
So,
about Marilyn Thornhill?
so Marilyn Thornhill is. This is where it gets a little. This is where it gets a little fuzzy. She is somebody's sister who's their descendants. She's Garrett Hayes'
What's that?
sister.
What's that line? Brothers, cousins.
Yeah.
Isn't that from
She's-
Spaceballs?
she's
The brothers,
Garrett
cousins,
Hayes'
nephews, second one.
sister. Garrett Hayes was the guy that Gomez was charged with, or not charged, but accused of killing. They are descendants of Crackstone. She is trying to bring back Crackstone
That is correct.
because
She believes in his mission.
she believes in his mission, and she knows that Wednesday is the key, which Goody Adams told her in a vision. From the minute that happened, when Goody Adams says you're the key, I was like, pay attention to that. By the way, I really like the snapping when they go to open the thing.
Joe's going to kill us.
It's part of it. It's part of it though. When they go to open the chamber thing, the chamber
He'll
of secrets,
understand. He's right there.
you know.
He's not saying
they-
nothing.
I thought it was a nice throwback to the show in the movie when they.
That
You
is
know.
very true. But
Yeah.
can I just say, though, while that was a brilliant explanation of the family tree, that was way complicated. Like, you could have legit just
Just
said,
left out Garrett.
no, that she's the sister of this psychotic young man who was really jealous, decided to try to kill Gomez.
I
Gomez
essentially
killed-
said that. You're just saying it in different words.
No. You did it such an around, and you say it was complicated. It wasn't that complicated. I think you're kind of making it a little
Simplified it just a
complicated.
little too
you
much.
Could, yeah. The delivery was a little lacking. So yeah. So essentially,
Wow.
what you learn.
with it.
Criticism.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you accuse me of not knowing something and you're trusting a Wikipedia page.
I am.
I'm going up there for a little bit of reference.
Yeah,
but
why
we
are you
need,
getting on her?
names. I'm looking for names.
Because she's sitting right next to me. She
I'm
can,
more into the names. Because I have a hard time remembering names too, so I need like a visual with
Yeah.
the names. And
But-
Wiki has the visual with the name.
What do you mean two? I don't have a problem remembering
Simone.
names.
You had a
has a
problem with the names earlier too. Don't lie.
so,
Don't
with-
you dare.
going back to Goody Adams, that's
Goody.
the one thing that bothers me
Goody.
about these people. Like, okay, fine. If I am reaching out from the beyond because I need to provide assistance to an ancestor, I'm going to be direct. This whole thing, you are the key. You are the key. He is coming. Listen, Goody. Just,
Will be.
it's like, give her the answers that she needs clearly and concisely. You can say you are the key
has
to
to
opening
figure it
up.
out.
No. Listen, if the fate of the world depends on the information I am giving, I'm going to be direct and concise. You are the key to Crackstone's crypt. Make sure you are nowhere near that crypt, because if you are near the crypt, you will unlock it. This
But
whole nonsense
Everybody
of you are the-
told her that. everybody was saying, if you're not here, none of this stuff happens.
That's ambiguous. No. That is ambiguous.
No.
It's ambiguous.
She's showing them the picture.
There wouldn't be much of a show if the ghost gave her all the answers.
No, but
I don't-
she's showing.
And there wouldn't be any conflict either.
She's
Look,
showing
if
them the
Voldemort just
picture.
killed Harry Potter, he could have ruled the entire
but-
Wizarding World.
Here's how. And the books could have been a lot shorter. No, what I'm
But we're still into it.
But what I'm saying is that even with that picture, like, okay, fine. I can see, though, how that clue can be seen as nothing other than spitefulness. Because the boy says, my mother drew you 30 years ago. First of all, how do you know that that is her? Yes, she has pigtails. Okay, fine. But it's not...
I mean, Wednesday's
exactly
pretty
like
convinced it's her.
Yes, but because also she's being told that is her. It's
But it
almost like...
is.
Yeah. Yes, but my point is, though, is that before she is certain of it, it's almost like you convince someone long enough, oh, yeah, I'm the problem.
She is.
Wednesday is not the problem.
I mean, no, not
The murderous
Joe, this is when you put in that
Pilgrim is
Taylor
the
Swift
problem.
song.
Agreed. But
Hi.
if
It's the problem, it's me song, whatever it is. It's me.
Anti-hero.
if
The problem
if Wednesday had just left school for a night, Thornhill wouldn't have been able to do it because the blood moon wouldn't have been there.
But also, if it's destiny, because also one of the things about this thing is that there's also a destiny factor in here. If she was destined 30 years before, her leaving, how many times does she try to leave and she ends up being brought
True.
back? So
Well,
my
Weeb's
thing
not
is,
letting her go.
you know, if it's fated and destined, it doesn't matter what she's doing. You know, even like you'll be the ruination of the school. No, it's not her.
fair.
It's Crackstone who can't
It's
just
Thornhill.
stay dead.
Thornhill,
And it's Thornhill who can't get over her and her racist family. I'm saying, listen, so it's not Wednesday Addams. She is not the problem.
Agreed.
She is an ingredient that will bring about the larger problem, but
Yeah.
she is not.
She's the key
Well,
that will
her
open everything
attitude
up.
and her egotism is part of the problem.
I know, but when we're talking about prophecies, and listen, what I'm trying to say is with Goody Addams, there can be some clarity. So,
Sometimes ghosts can't do that, though.
Oh,
They've only got such
please.
a limited time on the plane.
oh please, that's like a waste. Instead of
It's
wasting
the
time
common
being
ghost
spooky-
trope. They can't give you everything, so they give you the clues to get there because they
love
have
this
such a
good
fucking...
argument. I love
No.
how we're
Sorry.
arguing about this.
Now, so
because
when
I'm stupid.
when Crackstone is
Calling ghosts stupid?
Yes. Okay, I'm sorry. When
They're
Crackstone
gonna
is
hide
what-
in your closet?
when Crackstone gets
Haunted house?
They already do. Sorry.
Crackstone
Now they're
gets
gonna make noise.
Crackstone gets reincarnated, comes back.
He doesn't get reincarnated.
Whatever,
just
you know
means-
what I mean. He comes back. He comes back,
I love his reaction. He's like, get out of here, go away.
and then he stabs her. Does he stab her? Right? Stabs
brings-
Wednesday.
Yes, yes. He
Yeah.
shanks her in the stomach.
Now, then Goody appears.
Exactly.
How? Right? So,
the amulet on her necklace. It's a conduit, sort of. It's like a
but like,
spiritual
why didn't she
entity.
appear any time before that?
You see, that is what I'm trying.
Maybe
okay,
she
audience.
had hard time
So I'm
coming
agreeing with
here.
you. I'm agreeing with you.
No, you're not.
I am. What are you talking about?
Those are just supernatural interventions.
Now you're just arguing with me because you don't want me to be agreeing with you.
No, because that's
Like I understand it if she couldn't tell Wednesday the stuff in the vision. I get that. But if
watch
Goody
those
just
movies.
had the ability to show up in that world through that amulet, why didn't she do it earlier?
It might have been
And
difficult.
also, I really thought that
Conditions weren't right.
because I thought that I took a lot of stock in the be careful of Goody Addams. I thought when she took over Wednesday that shit was going to go down differently.
well, yeah.
Because I took a lot of stock in that. I was like, they keep harping on this. Your visions are not.
They were talking about her visions
Reliable.
in general. I can kind of understand because there's so much conflation going on, so much gaslighting of this poor girl. But I can understand where that comes from, and I have to sort of retract my previous statement. I don't think the necklace is what enabled Goody Addams to come. The necklace is what enables her to temporarily enter her to heal her. That's what the necklace does. So I'll retract that
So
statement.
how'd she get there then?
Because I think
Where's she been at?
Because I think there's strong spiritual energy, and there is a connection between Goody and Wednesday, because Goody has established that connection because of the psychics. Like between her and her mom, she is the stronger. So when
Where's
Goody
she
had,
been, though? Where's she been, Goody?
I don't know. I think it's like one of those things, since we're going to go with the whole it's a ghost thing and you wouldn't have much of a story, let's play with that a bit. I think that Goody decided to show up at the last minute when it was most convenient, give some cryptic messages that no one understands, and say, peace out, you're now on your own.
Okay.
I'm done.
Both of you guys are questioning the supernatural and a fictional story, and without
Y'all haven't seen
a
enough
last
ghost
minute
movies to
save
understand.
from a ghost who probably couldn't
watch
get
Insidious.
through to Wednesday because Wednesday can get out of her own way.
Maybe that's
and,
it.
Conditions weren't right.
And conditions weren't right.
Probably.
Maybe
And-
Wednesday needs to be humbled a little bit, but then stabbed.
Blood.
You know, yeah, exactly.
Blood.
Almost dying will do that to you.
Yeah.
Well, because then you're in between the veil of living and
Dying.
Another question.
Yes.
death.
Crackstone comes back, right?
Yes.
And he's got that staff in his hand.
Yes.
That is just magical. How?
Which, can I just make a point to? This came to my head. I don't know if anyone else noticed
He's
it.
killing witches,
The
he's got magical
dude
stuff.
who's all about anti-witchcraft and the demons work has a magical staff.
Yeah.
That can
Now
kill
I
witches.
Now I can understand hypocrisy is part of his character. It's what makes him that
Probably.
special someone. But I was just thinking about it. That is hypocritical, Crackstone. And can I just say, though, for a villain that we've been building up to, can I just say it was a little lackluster?
Because the real villain was society.
The real villain was Thornhill. I mean, Crackstone.
Even she was a bit lackluster, and her demise, the killer bees, while I kind of appreciate Diego.
I liked
No,
Eugene.
was it
Eugene.
Diego? Eugene, my bad. sorry.
Eugene was.
I liked Eugene.
I
getting a
love
little,
Eugene. He loves his bees.
And,
I love
and
his
did we
hospital room
establish that he
covered in
controls
bees.
them when?
Yes, he's a psychic. He
I didn't
can,
realize that until the end.
He can control
She's
bees.
reading the Wikipedia page.
Did
That
you,
was established
did you-
in the show too.
But did you recognize that in the show? Because I
Yes.
didn't until the end.
Yes.
I didn't know that
all
he
the
could control
psychics are
bees.
different with their abilities. Like Fester is technically an electrokinetic.
No, but I didn't even know Eugene was a psychic.
I
Yeah,
didn't
he
know.
can
why-
control the bees.
Is that why if you put a
I know that
in-
now. But
At
I-
the end, you can tell that like he
No,
controls
that's
the bees.
that is when I could tell.
I'm not gonna give Lewis a hard time.
That is when I.
I am
could tell.
here to educate.
But what I will say though, it's I can kind of agree
Eugene's
with Lewis. Like I did realize Eugene. Oh, okay, he can control the bees. He talks to the bees. But that fact was not established early on. It is established that he has a connection and a deep
was the
love and
nickname?
respect for bees. But it was never established that he could control them. That was a Deus Ex Machina if I've ever seen one in my life. Where it's like, I got the bees now. That was a little. I'm sorry.
What was the like
That was
the
kind of.
nickname he gave him on Wednesday? Were they like hivers or
Hummers.
something?
Hummers.
I love this boy. He's so adorable. I wish I could go back in high school and that would be like my friend group. Just the bee kid.
Oh,
I
He's
do
so
love
nice
Eugene.
and he really likes Enid too. And he's just like friends
Yeah.
with us. He's like, can you like talk to Enid for
And
me?
who,
And I'm
does
like, yeah.
and who does Eden go for the stoner?
Ajax seems like a nice kid though.
I
He's
didn't say it was
stupid, but he's a
I'm
nice
just
kid.
being cantankerous for the sake of being cantankerous.
He's got
Who does
nice
she go
eyes.
with? The stoner. She does? Maybe. I don't know. I didn't pay
I don't
attention.
know. That was
What'd
a
you
joke
say?
because Gorgons are supposed to. The reason they're called stoners is because like Medusa, the Gorgon, she's looking at him in the eyes. I'm like, I'm surprised they don't have like protective eyewear. Even like there's like an
You know,
animated
you're
and child's like
right.
doll series called Ever After High, and they did Monster High also. And there's a Gorgon, and he wears shades
You know,
so that his eyes
you're
don't.
correct because with the whole Medusa thing, it's not her snakes. Her snakes terrify you. It's her
They make you
eyes.
look. They're like, look over here. And you're
So
like,
how
"Oh."
is he able to look at people? He doesn't wear lenses.
None of them do.
You brought a
Only
good
the
point.
vampires wear
Sunglasses.
sunglasses, even though they should be wearing umbrellas and like raincoats and stuff. to
But
cover
maybe
their
they have
skin,
really
too.
good SPF sunscreen.
They got that. Well, to be fair, you have like Thornhill, who clearly can make who's like a Jekyll and Hyde, who made the potion to turn
Yeah.
what's his name, Lucas,
Tyler.
Xavier Lucas. There's so many
Tyler.
boys in this. Tyler,
I
whatever.
don't think there's a Lucas.
Tyler, it's Tyler. Yeah, I'm looking at his little face. Which also his hide form could really bring up the Tim Burton in the show because that you could tell right off the bat that
Yeah,
was
the
a
big ass eyes.
design,
Oh.
the big old eyes and the way that it was structured. It's
You know
like
who
if
he
you looked at a lot of
reminded
his
me
work, even afterwards, it's like you could tell.
The thing from Ice Age.
No.
This little.
There's a character who goes,
the one with the
he goes,
nuts. Yeah.
he goes, master the
Oh,
plants. He reminded me of Dr.
Igor?
Finkelstein.
Igor?
Yeah, he goes, master the plants.
Master the plan.
I'm sorry.
I love that little guy. He's so cute.
He's
I
so
think weird
abused
things are
too.
cute.
Like, and also he was feeding him dog biscuits. Okay, I digress.
Because he's a good dog. He's a good little helper.
But you did bring up a good point. I didn't even think about that. Technically, the power is in the eyes. So why are they covering the snake heads?
I think just to kind of hide them away. If
Yeah,
anything.
they're not very attractive.
Yeah, you know. I mean,
I thought they
I
were-
mean, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. You
No,
know?
I think the reason why they're hiding
Oh
it is
my
because
God.
it's the snakes that stone
think
people,
it's
which is
kinda
kind of
dope.
dumb. It should be their eyes that are the ones that are stoning you.
Yeah.
You mean turning you to stone?
Unless in their
Stoning
modern
you, it's more
time
direct.
they've gotten rid of the eyes and gone through a different like thing, but you know, I don't know. But normally, like in mythology, it's like if they're basing it off Medusa and they're calling them stoners because they turn people to stone, and it's like, why are their eyes not covered? But whatever. But he turned himself into stone. Whatever. How did he turn himself into stone? He like.
Because he puts a towel up on the mirror, which I must say, though, if that is...
And he looked at himself, right?
No, because the towel
right.
falls down. So basically he's finished with his shower. He's about to exit from the shower. The towel, protective towel over the mirror falls, and he goes, no! And then he stones himself.
So he looked himself.
Yeah, he looked at himself in the mirror.
Because
was
the
without sin
protective cover
through the
came
first
down.
stone.
The,
Right.
the
Right,
towel
but it
came
was
off.
still the fact
But
that he
he's-
looked. The thing that stoned him though was that he looked in himself in the.
It's
So
I
maybe
think-
it's a power within his eyes. Maybe he's startled. I don't know.
I think
don't know,
it's.
there's a
I
lot
think.
of
I
things
think with
going
them,
on.
they're using the snakes because if the power resides in his eyes, everyone should be stoned in that school. He can't look at anyone.
Might be.
Oh God! Now they're changing mythology to suit their own needs.
It's a fantasy.
Well, I mean,
Katie.
that's a Medusa-based
Why are
Gorgon.
you-
Not
why are
all
you-
Gorgons can do that, because then you have Medusa's younger sisters in mythology that don't do the same thing.
She has younger sisters?
fantasy
She has two
doesn't
sisters.
change mythology?
Yeah.
No. So, because, as I said, it's like she got turned into a Gorgon that just so happened to have that ability.
Legitimately,
I hate you.
every fantasy book has a different take on similar concepts.
Yeah.
But what I will
I actually don't mind the
More.
snakes being the things that stone him.
Yeah, like
Yeah, yes, Stheno and Uriel are Medusa's sisters, and
I
they
didn't
can't
realize-
turn people to stone.
Yeah, they have. She has sisters.
It's only that Medusa has the ability to do that.
Say
So if they're going
Thanos?
based on...
She's not.
Stheno.
I'm just saying that it was
Uriel.
kind of confusing for me because I'm used to the original mythology, and I
You
thought
have, like,
that's
two-
where they were going
Yeah.
with it.
So
at
I was
first.
saying if they're based on Medusa Gorgon, then, you know, they might be eye based. I don't know. So,
Okay, maybe they're not. Well, it's, whatever. That's just me. My brain. I fixate
Maybe it's a
on
control- I don't
stupid
know.
details.
I don't know.
But yeah. So
But I'm over here for like changes as long as they're consistent.
well,
Yeah.
I mean, they're definitely changing things. Like even with the sirens, which are pretty cool, where they have amulets that sort of negate the power of their
Very
song
Little
or
Mermaid
whatever.
with the voices.
Yeah, and I do like though that in the end it's not just Wednesday that saves the school. Bianca gets her stab
Yeah,
in,
I loved that.
which I kind of like.
really thought they
Xavier
were gonna
gets
turn
his
on her.
arrow
I
in.
was like-
He misses, but he still gets an arrow in. So the whole school has a part to play. Enid,
All her new friends.
Enid fights Tyler.
the Hyde character. Yeah.
Tyler, who's
Yeah.
deceiving us all along.
Not me.
Can we talk about
knew it.
Tyler though? Tyler. I was
felt
really
bad for
hoping
him.
that
They made me
he
feel bad, and I
and
was like, what?
Wednesday would really become a thing because Xavier, he's
Xavier bought Wednesday a
Is-
phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my big
Wild.
gripe with the whole series. Is literally the end
He
of
is,
the episode.
he is rich. I guess he is rich though because his father's famous.
But he was like,
But how's
oh
she
yeah,
gonna
I
get-
got you. I just got you an iPhone.
How-
Like, how
how's she-
did you have time to
how-
do this with everything going on
How's
in
she
the
gonna
school?
get service though? How's she gonna get service?
I don't know because the other girl has like Instagram and everything on her phone. Enid is on her
Well,
phone
I mean,
all
you
the
can
time.
have internet.
Well,
He's paying for the
But how are you
bill,
gonna
which
get
means
phone-
she's like,
how are you gonna get service?
well,
though?
one would assume
call.
she's gonna adapt to her new 21st century lifestyle, get a Wi-Fi
it's
router.
like, get your own phone plan.
So, well, we'll go with that. We won't think too hard on this.
Again,
'cause-
I think you're thinking too hard on some
Thank you,
things.
Katie. So,
I wonder if he bought her the plug because those come separate now.
but what I will
That's
say is
annoying.
though, so the ending, well, we're going to touch on that. So we do at least touch on the ending. So it's hinted at. There's two things that are alluded to or hinted at. One is that Tyler hides out and he will escape from police custody because apparently no one believes in knocking someone out, especially if they're a violent criminal. So he's going to escape from police custody. Wednesday, after parting ways with the resident tortured artist, receives a mysterious text message, which is a picture of Tyler and her talking, and then someone throwing a knife at a what I must say is that I liked that
Extreme
little
accuracy.
emoji of like Wednesday Addams getting hit in the head with a knife. So there's a hint that there's someone else in the game. Now, I'm kind of hoping this is not just some jealous person
Who
like,
got her
I'm
phone
watching you. But I hope it's like, maybe there's a bigger puppeteer in all of this. Because I know they're going to do a season 2. Yes.
Maybe it was Rowan. He's not dead.
Listen,
Bum, 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 bum.
Yes.
I have a confession to make.
Uh-oh.
All right.
You need to leave?
No.
Oh, okay.
I.
You look like you're about to cry. Child.
I have seen 3 seasons of Pretty Little Liars.
So, is that
Now-
the new one, or is that like the old one?
I didn't know there was a new one.
I thought there was.
The
Gossip
one with-
Girl. I'm thinking Gossip
The
Girl.
one with
sorry.
Lucy Hale and
Yeah.
the
ones
Shay,
based on the books that we have
Shay
here at the
something and Ashley something.
Yeah.
It's okay.
And-
Don't worry about
You're
it.
good. You're good.
So that felt like the finale of a Pretty Little Liars. That felt like the ending of a Pretty Little Liars finale.
Is that good?
And I hated it.
Oh, okay.
It's the
Never mind.
technology,
Screw
right?
me.
Like, it's the whole input of, like, the text
Yeah.
message.
They could have done. I feel like they could have set up a second season without making it so corny like that.
Maybe have a crow fly into
Eugene's the
vehicle.
puppet master. Sorry.
No, Eugene's a good guy.
So you think?
That's what
Remember,
they.
we thought
Remember,
a
we
lot
thought
of the people in
Tyler
this
was
thing
a
were
good guy.
I did not think Tyler was a good guy. I knew he was a dick.
You see, well, can we go
be fair,
back
it's
to
Marilyn
Tyler though? Because Tyler was, I was rooting for him because think about it. His mom died under extreme circumstances. His
He probably killed her.
no, I don't think so.
His mom died.
His
Disney
father is
story.
neglectful. He's very emotionally withdrawn. Has no time to spend with his son, who's getting therapy sessions.
His dad's dealing with murders right now.
Also, I guess now that you're bringing this
But it's
up,
your-
I guess Tyler was kind of and have kind of they didn't really bring it up as a heavy thing, but I guess it is kind of a heavy thing. He was kind of groomed,
Yeah.
like
Definitely, and there's like I don't know if it's just me reading into it. There was sort of like a sensual, sexual element to
Oh,
the
100%.
relationship.
Yeah.
Okay, good. It wasn't just me.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
With the therapist.
No, with Thornhill.
with Marilyn,
Yeah.
Marilyn.
because she's just like, baby, mama, get rid of this for mama. Like that was just, it was the skeevy-jeebies
Yeah.
running up and down my
She-
spine.
I mean, they even in the flashback they show her like caressing his hand and stuff like that. She was
motherly
she
affection.
groomed him. It was no.
Yeah. No.
It's
There's
yeah.
Rowan.
Yeah, and I like how the father finally gains access to the therapy sessions because it's part of a
Also, it's
crime scene
confidentiality.
investigation, and like he's listening to tapes. He goes, "There's like some disturbing stuff happening with Tyler." I'm like, "Damn it, Tyler can't be good." But I thought the actor did a fantastic job, though, especially the scene in the police. He goes like, "How does it feel to lose?" Like the way his tone shifts, the way his face shifts.
bad.
But that's another thing about like some of the misdirects that were kind of bothering me. That's another point that I want to bring up. Because some of it is maybe for the audience benefit, but some of it didn't make much sense. Like I kind of feel like he did have are we supposed to believe he never felt anything for Wednesday? Like it was purely I'm getting on your good side because my handler has decided I need to sort of distract you?
It's a good question.
Or was there any kind of genuine
It's all a lie.
That's a good question.
That's the problem.
It's all a lie.
That's a good question. I don't know
Yeah.
that we can definitively say yes or no.
Deceiver.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking of, like whether any part of it was actually genuine or not.
No.
But I
Yeah.
did feel sorry because he was someone that was emotionally manipulated.
Yeah.
Yes, he is murdering people. I'm not saying, well, you get a pass for murdering people.
But
But-
question, would he be doing that without the manipulation?
I don't think so.
Right.
Because like you don't know much about his mom, but when Weems is talking to Wednesday after Wednesday said, "Did you know his mother was a Hyde?" And she said, like, Francois was a lovely person. I didn't ask because she identified. So there were hints that there was some stability because she was able to be in a school setting.
Yeah.
So what is, like, the trigger? Because the mom then started, like, Tyler said, oh, she was, like, bipolar. But what was it that triggered her what triggered the hide aspect of herself
That's a good
coming
question.
out? Was it like stress?
Yeah.
Did she suffer from mental illness? And the fact that she was mentally ill and a hide was sort of like a bad cocktail, so to speak.
And what triggered it? What triggers it with Tyler?
I think it's because
Which is
when
interesting that these are the triggers,
yeah.
considering the old story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah, because I think the father wasn't honest with him. I think he didn't realize, I think, that his mom wasn't a normie. At least I don't believe so. And he believed she had, well, maybe to assume before Marilyn told him, I think he may have assumed she had a bipolar episode. And I'm assuming, I don't know if she committed suicide, but she died as a result of her illness.
I think we're going to find that she's alive in the
Yeah.
next season.
Bum, bum, bum.
You heard it here first, folks.
Oh my god.
She's going to be alive.
So
I'll bet each of you a cookie.
A cookie.
So that would be interesting if they decide to go that route. But maybe that revelation, also the fact that his father has not been really listening to him, so already has a strained relationship with his father. So I think maybe that was the straw that broke the camel's back, so to
Question.
speak. And
Did the father know?
yes,
He did know, right?
yes,
Yeah.
I believe he knew.
Which is why he never looked into the evidence that Wednesday brought.
Because he didn't want to convict us.
Maybe,
'Cause
but
he
also.
knew that it was,
But I think it was the fear that, as Wednesday said, that the condition had been passed on to the son and what those sort of repercussions may have been. I
right,
mean,
so I'm saying, did the father know that Tyler was the...
I
the
don't
hide that was
know.
killing
Maybe
people?
maybe he had a fear, but I think if he knew, he would have acted. I don't think he would have allowed it to continue to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, I think he was a good guy.
Yeah,
I know
I
he
think he
was,
would have
you know-
tried to stop it.
Yeah, agreed.
And can we talk about it? He's a very minor character. The I'm gonna call him the morgue. He's not called the morgue. What do you call them? What's the mortician? What's he called?
Yeah, the
mortician.
Yeah. The guy that killed himself.
I'm so sorry. I was trying to figure out what his actual fancy title is. But at first I assumed it really was a suicide because remember when he's saying it's my last day, like he almost has that, because people, for the most part, when they have made the decision to end their life, they can be very chipper, very like, so it sort of throws you off and he goes, yep, this is my last day that I'm heading over with the wife to the islands, beaches, sand, goodbye. So I assumed he really had committed suicide, not that he had been murdered.
No, I got the vibe that they staged it as a suicide, but he actually was murdered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because something about the way he was behaving kind of led me to believe, oh, it's possible he really did kill himself. But maybe that was just.
I think they were trying to be over the top positive with him so that you would get the sense that like he wouldn't do that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because like he was being annoying. Like the sheriff like wanted to leave and he was just like, yeah, I can't wait, oh my god.
But, oh.
Verbatim what he said.
Okay.
Just
All
like
right.
that
He
little-
said, OMG.
All right. So yeah, I definitely misread something in it. But I thought that was like a hint that it was leading up where he was going to kill himself. That's how I kind of. Okay, I'm wrong.
I also
But,
really loved when she was in the, what do you call the tray things, and then she's like, just leave me in here for 5 more minutes. I was just getting comfortable, and he closes her back in. In the little refrigerator thing for the dead people.
Yeah.
That was funny.
All
Yeah,
right.
Let's do final thoughts real quick.
Okay.
Final thoughts. I really enjoyed the show. I thought it was funny. I thought there were heartfelt moments. I thought the mystery was actually very engaging. I was pleasantly surprised because I would not watch this on my own.
Oh, we're all waiting for me.
Going in order.
Excuse me, we don't normally go in order.
Oh.
Um,
If you don't want to go.
like I said, I couldn't really get into this. I may have to watch it again since all of you guys seem to really enjoy it. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
I do like this spin on the Addams family. I like seeing Wednesday in kind of like an unfamiliar element. I think there's a lot to play with when it comes to the Addams Family. There's plenty of material. I think they did a pretty good job. Of course, when they threw Tim Burton's name on it, I was already going to watch it because I love that man. And I love his works. So as soon as I heard he was doing his first ever TV show, of course, I was going to get on that. Although he only directed, as Joe mentioned to me earlier, that he only directed 4 of the episodes, but I still thought 4 out of 7 is still a lot of episodes for Tim Burton to direct. So I'm going to watch this.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was fun. There were a lot of engaging moments. I'm looking forward to season 2. Maybe we're going to see more of the Addams Family that we haven't seen. And hopefully whoever is the one that sent the text message, unless it's a complete misdirect and it's no involvement whatsoever.
Xavier has 2 phones. He could.
But I'm looking forward to seeing Nevermore Academy again, seeing the characters that I really enjoyed meeting. Like, they're really good characters. So thank you for joining us. We look forward to reading your comments and your thoughts on Wednesday. Did you enjoy the show? If you didn't, let us know why. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.